What is going on, Ive Warriors? So today we're going to look at the downsides of intermittent fasting. This video here, we're going to look at this video and then we're going to, I haven't watched it. I should probably start watching these beforehand just in case, but I haven't watched the video. We're going to go ahead and look at it. We're going to see what they say, and we're going to, I'm going to talk about the actual true downsides. Unless they mention it in this video, which rarely they do. They're always up in the clouds. They rarely talk about the true issues. They talk about things that aren't really issues, that are just things that people say, and they just regurgitate what people say based on what they think it is or what they feel that it will be or whatever. But anyways, let's go ahead, take a look at this video, and let's go from there.
Dieting trends is something called intermittent fasting. And here to talk with us about some of the benefits and drawbacks, dietitian Amy Pleimling with.
Why do they bring in dietitians and nutritionists for these things? Why can't they bring in researchers? Why can't they bring in, people that are in that field? Because being a dietitian is not intermittent fasting. Doesn't mean you know about intermittent fasting or you care. Dietitian is about the foods. A dietitian and nutrition is about the food that you're eating. It's not about intermittent fasting, right? And some of these people don't even care. Some of these people don't even care to learn about intermittent fasting. They just don't like it flat out because of their preconceived notions of fasting. But anyways, let's continue.
Alina Health, thank you for being here today. Great to
bet.
see you again. What is this intermittent fasting?
So really it just alternates periods of eating and non-eating, right? And so we're just trying to make them, the fasting really is a little bit longer of a segment of non-eating. I mean, this is a religious, fasting has been around for hundreds and hundreds of years, so it's not really anything new. It's just maybe about balancing feasting and fasting.
What's the common way and time period of
Yeah, there's a
people
couple of different popular methods. One is more, I would say, done like on a daily basis. So you're going to fast for a period of hours. The best way so far that is gaining popularity is 16 and 8. So you're fasting for 16 hours during the day and you're eating for an 8-hour period. Okay, so that would be like starting to eat at noon and being done at 8 p.m. That's your eating time, and then the rest of the time you're not eating anything or drinking anything except for water.
What is your concern as a dietitian? What should you not be doing when you do this?
Well, you should not be, having just like a total party when you're eating, right? Because I think that mentality goes, well, look,
I mean, I don't know anybody. I guess people are like that, but you should understand that your calories matter. So if you overeat, it doesn't matter if you do intermittent fasting, there won't be any fat to burn if at the end of the day you're net positive in your energy balance, which means you've had more energy come in, or you have more energy overall based on the energy release versus the energy that came in, that your body will just eventually store. Even if it burned a little bit of fat throughout the day, you've replenished that when the day is done because you overate. So obviously, does it matter? This is not a thing that hacks life in terms of you'll burn fat and then nothing gets stored even though you're overeating. That's not how it works.
I did it. I made it this really long fast, and now I can eat whatever I want. So I'm just going to go out and binge on anything because this one little fasting thing that I'm doing is going to work and help me lose weight and take care of the
What's the drawbacks?
You still have to eat a healthy diet while you're doing it.
Talk about the healthy diet. What does that encompass?
So we, again, it's just the same stuff that we hear all over. It's just that tons of produce, lots of fruits, vegetables, balanced protein, healthy carbohydrates, those types of things. So, less refined grains, less sugar, that type of thing. Still having to do that during an intermittent fast.
When we're talking about men and women with this, is it true men sometimes when they do adopt these things have quicker results than women?
It is.
Why?
Darn you.
I'm not one of them, obviously. But,
I don't know. It just is. I think men have more muscle, right? So inherently. So it's muscle is a metabolically active tissue. And so they just have an easier time losing weight than women.
So your feeling generally is that this is an effective way to
Yeah.
manage if you adopt this as your lifestyle.
So I think it's really cool as a tool. There's all kinds of tools that we can try, right, to help us.
Okay, so this person is surprising me. This dietitian or nutritionist is surprising me. because she appears to be, although this is 3 years ago, she appears to be in favor of the usage of intermittent fasting. But this may be before the consensus or the switch over, when people started to think, oh, well, no, let's not do intermittent fasting because it's cool now to say don't do intermittent fasting, because the society just goes in waves. When eating 6 meals a day was cool, intermittent fasting was cool for a good amount of time. Then intermittent fasting became cool because it's the opposite of that. It's like, oh, this is a new shiny toy. As soon as this new shiny toy became cool, saying, oh, don't do that is the cool thing to say. But maybe we're turning the corner again, and people are saying, wait a second, we're just saying don't do it, but there's so much evidence of why we should do it. I guess maybe we just spin it back around to doing it, and then who knows, in 2 more years people will be like, why you shouldn't do intermittent fasting, because it's going to be the cool thing to do in 2 more years.
The one thing with weight loss is intermittent fasting is showing some good results there, but there's a lot of promising research on effects of general health, like preventing disease, maybe even certain types of cancer.
Yeah, she's clearly pro intermittent fasting.
It's also good for memory and diseases like Alzheimer's. So the research is still up and coming, but it's very promising.
So a lot of efficacy with a lot of this stuff.
Right, but I wouldn't do it like if I had a severe eating disorder, like a binge eating disorder, because again, you're going to go back to that sort of like binge and fast, and for sure if you're on a medication like insulin.
Well, thank you for enlightening.
Well, if you have a binge eating disorder, intermittent fasting is not going to be helpful, but also caloric restriction is not going to be helpful, because at a certain point your willpower is going to wane and you're going to binge eat when you do caloric restriction. And here's the problem: when you're trying to lose weight, you have to be at a caloric deficit. You just have to. So it's always a tricky thing. There's always things that you have to focus on and think about when you have like a binge eating disorder, anything of that nature. But she also talked about if you're taking insulin, you shouldn't do intermittent fasting. Taking insulin and doing intermittent fasting does appear to be a little bit counterintuitive because of the fact that you're putting insulin in your system. With intermittent fasting, you're trying to keep your insulin low. So it's one of those weird things. But I would also say anyone with type 1 diabetes probably shouldn't do intermittent fasting, because you have a specific meal frequency and meal timing that you need to kind of stick to. Right now, because all I would ever do to you guys is make sure that I give you what we have in the current studies. What's the data? What's the meta-analysis? What's the consensus data that we have? And within the studies itself, children have not been studied to do intermittent fasting, so we simply do not know. There's an unknown there. So I would recommend, if you're a child, not to do intermittent fasting. And then also, because they haven't tested this on pregnant women, I would also recommend those who are pregnant to not do intermittent fasting. But that is my recommendation based on the studies itself. And then one downside I would probably say, considering those being downsides, is maybe the social life could kind of shift a little bit. If you're consistently always hanging out with your friends and consistently always going out to eat, intermittent fasting might throw a little bit of a wrench in that. But then you have to choose, like, do you want to just have this consistent lifestyle where you're always going out with your friends, or do you want to be able to finally reach your weight loss goals? So that's one thing that's a downside that I would say to intermittent fasting. And once again, intermittent fasting is not the be all end all. If it does not work for you, if it's uncomfortable for you, if it's something that you do not like to do, no matter how many times you try it, then don't do intermittent fasting. Choose something that works for you. Intermittent fasting did work for me. It does work for other people, but just doing caloric restriction works for other people. Doing the Mediterranean diet, doing the DASH diet, all these different things work for others. And if those things work for you, pick the thing that you can do for the rest of your life, because that's what's going to matter at the end of the day. The problem that we have in the United States specifically is not even a weight loss problem or a weight gain problem. Is really only a weight regain problem. All right. Anyways, let me see how they ended.
Yes, today, Amy Pleimling, always good to see you,
You
from
too.
Aligna
Thank
Health. We have more information for you. You can find it out about intermittent fasting and Aligna Health on the Care 11 app on the As Seen on TV section.
All right, so there we go. There it is. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Of course, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Have you seen any downsides to intermittent fasting? Have you seen them when doing intermittent fasting? And even for people that, sorry about that, even for people that tried it and it didn't work for them, let me know in the comment section below. For those who have tried it and have seen a lot of success, but notice that there's some downsides, let me know what your downsides are. And we will see you in the next video, which will be tomorrow. See you guys. And thank you so much. Peace.